Assalamu alaikum. Uh, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So it's our third video. It's week one, third video on React Native. So it's the native cross-platform and hybrid developer roles. So mobile apps, mobile apps are everywhere, and many software programs have a mobile version in the App Store today. Many tasks are done through smartphones, and therefore, becoming a software engineer to do mobile development is a great career choice. In this video, you will explore the different terms that you may come across as a mobile developer. Developers can have different roles in the mobile development space. Native development is the first and the most traditional way of building mobile app. Native apps are those that are built exclusively for a different platform. They could be iOS platform apps, Android apps, or even Windows apps. Mobile developers also work on native app development needs to pick and specialize in one of these platforms. You will hardly ever meet a native mobile developer who builds both iOS and Android apps. This is because the skill set to build iOS versus Android native apps is completely different. Let's explore the development requirement for these platforms more closely, starting with iOS. That to build a native iOS app, you will be using programming languages such as Swift or Objective C. These languages are used to build iOS apps exclusively, and you may not find any value in them outside the app, the or outside of the Apple ecosystem. You will also need a MacBook to develop native iOS apps. That may be your first purchase as an iOS developer. Now, how does that compare to Android development? Android has the largest number of users today. It is a solid career path to become an Android mobile developer. Building native Android apps to develop Android native applications, you you would either use Java or Kotlin. You would use either Java or Kotlin as a programming language. Kotlin is an open source programming language and is not exclusive to the Android platform. Now that you understand what native development means in the mobile development world, let's address some other terms as well. For instance, what is a cross platform developer? Although native development is still a good option for a mobile developer, it is not always necessary to build a native mobile applications. Cross platform native apps are becoming increasingly popular. Cross platform native mobile apps are apps that are built with a single code base for multiple platforms. This means you can maintain one code base and build both native iOS and native Android apps at the same time. You are then called a cross platform mobile developer instead of an iOS or Android developer. The next term we'll visit in is React Native. React Native is one of the most popular cross platform mobile networks that is used to build native mobile apps. It was developed by Meta and made available as open source for anyone to use in 2015. React Native is built using JavaScript and React. What is interesting about React Native is that you code entirely in JavaScript to build native iOS and Android apps. The library that you will use with the React Native is, as the name suggests, React. Since JavaScript is also a popular programming language for building web applications, you will find learning JavaScript useful even outside of building React Native apps. React Native isn't your only choice, as other frameworks can also be used to build. Isn't your only choice as other frameworks can. React Native isn't your only choice, as other framework can also be used to build cross-platform native apps such as Flutter and Xamarin. While these frameworks may offer some benefits such as greater flexibility and more control, React Native has a larger library of components and it makes it easier to work with pre built elements. So far, you have observed what native mobile apps are and what cross platform native apps are. There is another category of cross platform apps called hybrid apps, and developers who use these apps are called hybrid mobile developer. Unlike apps built with React Native or Flutter, hybrid apps do not have access to built in native features of the mobile development. They use external plugins like Cordova to integrate native features to the app. Hybrid apps render the graphic elements via a browser, which takes several steps to start showing the components on the screen. These are essentially web views. When you are looking for jobs, you will hear these terms frequently, and you will need to be aware of all the different types of developer roles that are available today. In this course, you will be learning React Native, the framework that is used to build cross-platform native apps for both iOS and Android. To be more specific, to be more specific, find you will find out how to use React Native to build an app for the restaurant Little Lemon, which works for both platforms without the need to write code twice. Okay. So this is a major benefit of React Native. It supports cross-platform development. You'll not be writing two codes, for one for the iOS and one for the Android. One code is going to be sufficient. And there's also a proper page from the Meta. I guess it's snack.expo.development, like snack dot expo dot dev, snack.expo.development. And that website on that website you can actually try the code written, and you can see how your app is going to actually look if you are not using installed variants, or installed, or if you don't even want to install. So it's a website based uh, like site you can use to see how your app is going to actually look. So Little Lemon, which work for both platforms without the need to write code twice. This means that by the end of the course, you'll be a cross-platform mobile developer who can build mobile apps across multiple platforms. So this is it. All right, time to share and get to know your classmates. Provide a brief introduction to your classmates. So there might be other people listening to me. So what you need to do is that you all need to comment, and you can say a hi in the text area, and you can describe why are you here and what brings you here and why you're learning React Native. What benefit do you think that this is going to do? Are you like shifting a job from one of like are you having a major shift in your job, or you're just enhancing your knowledge, and you can actually interact with the people, move it along with me or this course. You can do that. and you can even share their contact, and it will be showing by their name, and you can email them, you can share your contact, whatever you like. And if you don't want to share your private contact details or addresses, you may not do that. So, if you're not sure about what to include in your introduction, you can use some of the following topics to guide you. So this topic: where in the world are you from? You can write that I'm from that place and I'm attending this course. You can share which part of the world you are from, or in which country do you live. If you share this information, it's a good idea not to share your specific location or personal details, such as mailing address. What is your vision and what are your goals? Why did you enroll in this program? What are you hoping to achieve in your life once you have completed this program? What are your career goals? What is your background? What do you currently do? Are you pursuing a new career or switching careers, or interested in learning something new? Anything else that may be of interest? Share information that may help others connect with you when searching the forums. Share common interests with your classmates so that others with like interests can find you. So this is it. Now comes the course syllabus. This course builds upon the foundational knowledge you gain from the React Basics course, and perhaps a lot many are new. It's completely fine. It will prepare you to develop a more complex mobile app experience using React Native. The course is designed to be completed over 5 weeks. Each week, you will learn how to apply a new feature to enhance the appearance or usability of your app. Introduction to the React Native. The first week starts with an overview of React Native, and you will learn about its role in mobile app development. You'll then be instructed on how to set up a development environment before you start working with some of the core React Native components. After completing these lessons, you'll be able to differentiate between the user and characteristics of React and React Native. Use Expo CLI to set up a React Native app development project. Use the Android emulator to render React Native components. Categorize components in React Native. Create a component in React Native. Use the view text and scroll view components to create a React Native screen. Use style sheet to style components in React Native. Lists, week two, lists and text input in React Native. In the second week, you will familiarize yourself with approaches for presenting large lists in a React Native app and enabling users to input text. Now, while these may sound like basic tasks, it is essential to implement and configure these lectures thoughtfully, creating a better user experience. After completing these lessons, you will be able to render large list with flat list, render large list by section with section list, use the text input component to accept user input, manage the virtual keyboard in a React Native app, create a login screen in React Native week 3. Pressable images and hooks in React Native. In week 3, you'll learn how to enhance your app with interactivity interactivity and visuals. Specifically, you will learn how to add clickable areas and display images. You'll also dive deeper into hooks to make your app more responsive to native device settings, thus creating a more integrated and seamless user experience. After completing these lessons, you will be able to use the pressable component to create touch interactivity in a React Native app, display and style images in a React Native app, use more advanced hooks to refine styling and interactivity in your app. And number four is the React navigation. After you have set up the major structural elements of your app, you'll shift your focus to enabling users to move between screens. There are several approaches to doing this, and you'll explore each to better understand the use cases in which they are best applied. After completing these lessons, you will be able to install and set up React Navigation on a native stack navigator. Use React Navigation to set up navigation between screens. Create and configure a header bar in a React Native app. Configure tab and drawer navigation systems in a React Native app. And V5 is going to be an assessment. We'll build an app basically, and the final week you'll apply your knowledge to build a newsletter sign up page in React Native, and we'll guide you through that all obviously. So perhaps we'll see if we can share it too. This will be followed by a peer review and a graded final assessment. After that, you will be guided to reflect on your experience with the course and decide the next steps in your learning journey. After completing the project exercise, you will be able to add image, text input, and button components for React Native app, applying styling to components, set up a stack navigator that can be used to move between two screens, create a form where users can input text in a box, and then press a button to submit it. So that's it. Thank you.